Hey, what's going on everybody? So the other day I released a new song titled Nightfall. In that song there's a selective picking riff, so I made a poll asking if you all would like a tutorial for that, and the majority of you said yes, so I'm gonna do that. I'm in drop C tuning, so C, G, C, F, A, D. And for the tone, you want a compressed, clean, almost to the edge of breakup sound. Basically, you want it to really pick up all the little nuances of your fingers and stuff. I have this thing here, this doesn't do anything for the sound. It doesn't affect or help my playing. All it does is get rid of overtones that come naturally from the guitar. And even with this, you're gonna get some overtones anyway because it's so compressed and you touch it, you're gonna kind of get some weird sounds going on. But in the context of a mix, you know, just like old school rock where there's a bunch of overtones and things going on, in the context of a mix, it's not gonna be a huge deal. So you can also get a lot of my tones on most of the neural plugins that I've done presets for, which is like a majority of the plugins. I usually make a selective picking preset. To kind of break down selective picking quickly, I've already done a few videos on this, so if you've already seen it, you could probably skip forward. But if you have no clue about selective picking, basically, it's just kind of bouncing back and forth between your left and right hand. So sometimes you do hammers, sometimes you do picks. That's pretty much it. In my particular way, I like to do very like drum rudimentary type stuff that bounce back between your left and right hands and ends up creating some pretty cool results. So to kind of start off, like you can just hit this open G string, or it's F if you're in drop C, obviously, and then just do some muted open strings like 1, 2, 3, and we'll do like little triplets. And then just find an arpeggio. And then just find something that works well with that open string. In this particular case, it's the root and the octave up. And what you're going to want to do is mute with your right hand, so that way this hammer gives the same effect as a pick. They're very subtly different, which will also create kind of like a timbre change, just like on drums, you know, hitting it a little bit harder on the hi-hat and then a little bit lighter on the hi-hat. It's the same sound, but it's just a little bit different. That's the hard part, is the trade-off. You want a nice balance. And then just kind of go back and forth between the two. And then there's so many different variations. Usually when I pick up speed, it's a more like constant flow back and forth. If I'm doing slower grooves, like an actual riff type thing, it's like a da 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 da. And that's where the actual riff will come into play. So you'll kind of see how there's no like formula for the actual riff itself. It's literally just mixing and matching and just creating a result that you end up liking. Let's just jump into the riff. So I'll play it like really slow. So the idea behind this was, I thought it was like, wouldn't it be cool if I made a selective picking riff where I'm just like kind of like doing a breakdown and the selective picking at the same time. So it's not just like straight shredding or anything. There's a groove to it. So at the bare minimum, you can enjoy the groove. And if you like the selective picking, you can also just enjoy that. But ultimately it creates this like ASMR type breakdown. I don't know if that makes sense. Probably sounds crazy, but that's what I was hearing in my head. So yeah, let's do the first part. So it's important that you use the tips of your fingers. Now, if you kind of notice, if you use the pad of your finger, if you push like kind of like right here, it's kind of squishy, then you hit the bone, right? Now, if you push on the tip, it's almost bone right away. So just using the tip of your finger, you can just tap it, and it's also harder. Like even if you hit the just the tip of my finger versus the pad, there's like a dampening sound to it. And that tip is what's going to give you that very percussive sound. So that's the important part. A lot of people kind of like just run their hands over it, and that's going to give you kind of the notes that you got, but you don't have that like percussiveness to it, and that's what we want. And that's it for that riff. you do enjoy this song, please consider picking up a tab pack, Patreon, anything that'll help out. Tab packs and other things like that really do help musicians like myself kind of continue to do this. We have merch, Patreon, guitar tabs, all that stuff's in the description. I appreciate the support, and I'll see you soon.